Welcome to the Elixir Sessions, where we explore the cutting edge of wellness and innovation. Today we're joined by Stephanie Wang, the visionary founder and CEO of Pathogenics. Stephanie is on a mission to restore aliveness through plant-based supplements featuring Kana, a heart-opening succulent from South Africa. Her work empowers people to feel more grounded, connected, and alive. Stephanie, thanks for being here today. We're excited to hear about your work in the psychedelic space and your journey as an entrepreneur. And in full transparency, I've been using your product for about a year now, and it really is an amazing heart opener. Can you start by telling us about what you do and what is the focus of your work?
I'm the founder and CEO of Pathogenics, and we're here to share more about Ka, also educate people about Kana, which is the main ingredient in our products. And Kana, if you don't know what it is, it's also called Scaletium tortuosum or kuhud in South Africa, which is where this particular plant comes from. And Kana is a succulent plant that is psychoactive, but not psychedelic. And it's super beautiful because it's a heart opener. It's an empathogen. It makes you more emotionally available. It brings more empathy for yourself and for others. And it just helps you connect with yourself and other people. And it's also a cognitive enhancer. So it's a nootropic in the sense that it actually helps you improve memory, focus, problem-solving ability, and creativity. And it's a natural anxiolytic. So it helps reduce sort of everyday anxiety and stress. And it's a euphoric in the sense that it uplifts mood as well. Some of the other aspects of this plant that maybe people are not so familiar with is that it also helps curb hedonic cravings, so excessive cravings like sulfite and sugar. And it's also used for treating addiction, particularly alcohol abuse in South Africa, as well as treating depression. So it's a really fascinating plant because besides all of that, it's also adaptogenic, which means that it's not toxic. It's safe to kind of take every day. And it's also neuroprotective. And it also does not lead to tolerance buildup. So you don't need more over time to feel the same effects.
Stephanie, can you tell us about your journey into the psychedelic space?
I have always been passionate about consciousness raising and just personal transformation in general, and also health and wellness. And about 10 years ago, I sat in my very first plant ceremony, and it was not with psilocybin or ayahuasca, but it was actually with Kana. And it had just a massive and profound effect on my life. I had never felt such love and connection and just sense of belonging and acceptance. And it really inspired me at that moment to want to bring this to more people outside of ceremony on a day-to-day basis that's more accessible. Kana was hugely impactful in my own healing journey. And I really wanted more people to have access to this because of how it actually, like I explained earlier, helps lower anxiety and stress and also helps open the heart. And in particular, I think in today's world, especially right now, especially post-pandemic, people have been suffering not just from anxiety and depression, but also just a sense of disconnection and separation and loneliness. And I think that, one could argue that what underlies a lot of mental health issues is the sense of disconnection, disassociation, and separation. So this is a beautiful plant that has kind of reemerged during this time to help us remember that and help us in our process of understanding our interconnection as well. And and it's a beautiful plant also because it helps regulate the nervous system. So it makes us more emotionally resilient. And of course, that's really helpful given what's happening, in the world right now and how wonderful it is to have this plant ally with us.
How have your clients responded to these therapies? And do you have any testimonials to share?
I would love to share a couple that are really powerful. So, we had someone who was on a benzodiazepine. And this is someone who is menopausal and she was suffering from, even greater anxiety. She also was suffering from insomnia as well. And she tried our product as an alternative and it's been really, really helpful for her. It's helped her really ease that anxiety and also with that sleeplessness. And we've also had testimonials. This was a really interesting one where someone was actually having a conflict with a friend and they couldn't quite bring it together to kind of express what it was that was bothering them. And she actually shared actually shared our product with the other person. And because it got them to calm down and be more heart-centered, be more grounded, they were actually able to have a conversation to eventually resolve this conflict.
What else should people know when using CAR?
We've had other people take it, for example, after they have come off of SSRIs, because I just want to be very careful, because if you are on SSRIs or MAOIs or SNRIs or CNS depressants, you don't want to be combining it with Kanas like immediately, because you don't want to risk having serotonin syndrome, because as you know, our bodies are very sensitive. If someone has been on those medications, they really need to speak to a doctor as to if they want to try something alternative, to be doing it under the medical supervision that's necessary. But this is definitely an alternative to SSRIs. It's also an alternative, excuse me, to Adderall because of its ability to help with focus and memory and all of that.
What exactly makes Kana products unique? How do they help people?
With Kana products in general, like just to be aware that there's a difference between Kana extract. You want to make sure of a product you're looking at, oh, how many milligrams? Is it extract or is it the herb? So in our products, we use highest potency standardized Kana extract that's from South Africa. And comes from extremely high quality plants. And the way it's been extracted is through a patented process as well to ensure that standardization. And what's different, for example, with our chews have Kana, but it also has other synergistic ingredients such as snow lotus and acmella and lavender and a bunch of others. So there is a synergistic formulation that's patent pending because of the way that these ingredients work with each other, but also because we don't use any elastomers or sugars to create this product, and we do not use any heat. So normally, if you take a gummy or anything like that, there's sugar, or you have to generally heat the ingredients above 300 degrees, and that really starts to degrade the plant ingredients. Whereas ours, it's completely bioactive because we don't use any heat. So what you're taking in is really alive and bioavailable and bioactive. And and on top of that, what you're taking I'll explain the tinctures as well, but I'm talking about the chews first, is that you have the extract, but there's also the full spectrum of the Kana plant because we also use the same quality of Kana powder as well. So you're getting the extract potency and you're getting the full spectrum of the whole plant.
Can you tell us more about your tinctures and their benefits?
The flavor profile is different. It's a little bit more sandalwood forward, whereas the chew is more minty and earthy. The tincture is more sandalwoody, a little bit sweeter. The tincture is great if you want that immediate peak effect because it's a sublingual, they're drops. So if you put it on the tongue, you feel it much quicker, but it doesn't last as long. Whereas the chews, you can take it and the peak effect comes in about half an hour and it also lasts all day. So it's like a time release. So it's nice to pair one with the other. So for example, I like to take the chew in the beginning of the day to set the tone to kind of keep me even keeled and not feel overwhelmed because I'm super stressed out usually as a CEO and founder of a company. There's so much going on. And maybe like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll be like, you know what? I need a bit of a boost. I will take that tincture and I also take it when I go out and share it with friends and, we'll dose each other. So,
How does your product differ from MDMA?
some people compare it to MDMA, and I understand why, because the way that they're similar is that they're both sort of heart openers, but there are huge differences. So number one, MDMA is synthetic, and Kana, which is also called Scaletium tortuosum, is not. It's organic. It's a natural plant. MDMA also has amphetamines, and Kana doesn't. And MDMA, as wonderful as it is for a lot of people, it's not advisable to take it continuously because of how it affects the nervous system and it's kind of neurally degenerative. Whereas Kana is neuroprotective and it's also adaptogenic and non-toxic, and you can actually take it every day. And it's also non-addictive. it's used to treat addiction, specifically alcohol abuse in South Africa, besides treating depression. So it's a beautiful, beautiful plant that I really encourage you to try because it's gentle, yes. And I feel like in our culture today, everybody's looking for bigger, faster, stronger. And there is a beautiful art of subtlety. And subtlety is actually super powerful because it goes under the ego's radar. And just like anybody who does microdosing, I'm sure you can appreciate this. It's awesome to do those psychedelic, powerful psychedelic, mind-blowing journeys. And at the same time, it's not a but either or, but and at the same time, it's equally powerful to be microdosing every day because you will start to see over time the differences and you're able to integrate much better. So speaking of integration, here's where it's also really interesting between Kana and psychedelics. So psychedelics, of course, often, again, depending on the psychedelic, after your mind-blowing trip or mind-blowing journey, oftentimes, and the very important part of that is to actually integrate afterwards. So Kana is a beautiful plant to do exactly that, to actually help you ground back into your body, as well as replenish serotonin. So we were talking about MDMA earlier. After MDMA, usually there's quite significant depletion in serotonin. So Kana and Ka is a great way to actually replenish your serotonin after journeys. And very powerfully, it helps you integrate your experience because oftentimes you have a lot of emotions that come up that are it's gonna take time for your sort of conscious self to begin to make sense of everything. And Kana is beautiful support for that. It holds space, literally, for you to process the emotions, to help you bring up emotions that maybe need to flow, that have been stuck. And it's super loving because it's a very gentle experience. So that's a beautiful way too. And in terms of prior to someone doing psychedelics, it's also really helpful. There are a lot of people who may find psychedelics a little bit intimidating. So they really want to do it, but they're like, hey, can I do it kind of step by step? Microdosing is one way, but also trying Kana and Ka is another way because it's this gentle introduction. It's almost like a gateway into psychedelics where you can start to feel the the entheogenic feeling of what it's like to be on plant medicine without losing track of space or time and having too many visuals, which can be jarring for some people. So it's a beautiful kind of way to work together with to have before or after psychedelics. And but just the one thing to keep in mind also, I know people really like to stack stuff, but our recommendation is first pay Kana the respect, because it is a sacred plant. Pay Kana the respect of trying it by itself first, so that you also know, oh, okay, this is what it's like to have it, just by itself, before you try to kind of mix it in with something else. And generally, I would say just to be safe, because it will kind of influence your serotonin levels. If you're an SSRIs or if you're on any other psychedelic or drug that affects SSRIs, you do not want to be combining that. You just really want to be very careful. And yeah, there's just some of the things that are good to take note of. And what are some of the use cases for Kana or Ka? If you are a meditator, it is beautiful to take Ka or Kana right before you meditate, maybe 20 minutes before you do, because it helps you calm the monkey mind and drop you into your body to really help focus and ground you. And that expansion that I mentioned is an empathogen. It actually helps you channel. It definitely helps me channel. And it just brings you into stillness in a much more maybe effect or efficient way. So there's that. If you do yoga, any kind of centering exercise, not only does it help you bring stillness and calm, it also actually helps you with endurance. The Khoikhoi and the San, the indigenous tribes who have stewarded Kana for thousands of years, they actually take Kana when they go on multi-day hunts. So why? Because not only does it help lower the stress and anxiety and help them connect to nature, it also helps maintain that level of energy and endurance and stamina. So there's that aspect as well. If you like to go out and hang out with your friends, but you really don't want to drink alcohol, this is a great alcohol substitute because it gives you that state change without the hangover the next day. You remember what happened. You actually get to share it with, let's say if you're sharing the tincture or you're sharing the drops or the juice with somebody else, you each get into that state change, but you're connecting so intimately and you're more heart open. You have more social ease. So especially for people who have social anxiety, that's another great way instead of drinking alcohol to achieve that same purpose. And interestingly, fun fact, Kana is actually called Once Droe Drank in Afrikaans in South Africa, which means our dry drink. And as I may have mentioned before, it's actually used to treat alcohol abuse. So there's all this storytelling and beautiful history with this plant. So I really encourage you to try it that way. Oh, and it's the holidays. So one other thing is what's great with Kana is because it brings ease and reduces tension in situations. It's great for if you're going to a family situation or having like a more difficult conversation or you're around like difficult relatives. It actually helps with bringing more ease into the situation as well.
Stephanie's dedication to bringing plant-based and pathogenics into the wellness space is truly inspiring. Her work with CAR is helping individuals reconnect with their vitality and joy. See you on the next Elixir session, where we uncover unconventional wellness leaders doing amazing things.